Good evening. I was unable to come up with a decent introduction to start off my speech, so I'm just going to jump right into it. Mrs. Lutke, you don't have to worry. I still did learn something in your English class. My first day of high school did not go as smoothly as I would have liked. My freshman year, we still had two separate lunches, a lunch A and a lunch B. Typically, most freshmen and sophomores were in lunch A, and the juniors and seniors were in lunch B. I asked my homeroom teacher, Mr. Alsma, what lunch I was in, and because of the fact I was in Spanish 1, he thought I would be in lunch A. So when it was time for lunch A, I went down to the Commons, went through the lunch line, and started eating my lunch. Until I was interrupted by Mrs. Brown telling me I should actually be in the Spanish room right now having class. So I finished off my lunch, hustled upstairs to the Spanish room, and walked into the classroom embarrassed. Not the exact way I was hoping my first day of high school would go. Moments like that are why freshmen have the reputation they do. In retrospect, I would take 2 lunches every day. So I guess the first day of high school could not have worked out any better. Though Mr. Alsma misguided me on my first day of high school, thanks a lot, Mr. Alsma, him, along with many other teachers, were able to give me and my classmates accurate information, help, and support. Though I did not take a lot of Mr. Alsma's classes, he was my academic advisor all 4 years. Through those 4 years, he was able to teach me valuable lessons about having high character and values that would not be taught in a classroom or a textbook. Along with Mr. Alsma, there are others that had a big impact on the high school career. Mrs. Weezy gave up countless hours as our class advisor to make sure our class was able to have successful events like prom, homecoming, the Great Homeroom Challenge, and our class trip to Six Flags. She guided me, as well as our other class officers, during meetings and planning for events. Mrs. Weezy was never afraid to make fun of me or take a jab at me, but that is okay, because she did openly admit that I was smarter than her. Mr. Cornick and Mr. Penza, you are being paired together for obvious reasons. These two instilled in me a curiosity to want to know why things happen, why they work the way they do, never being satisfied until you know the answer to something, and to never stop learning. If you have ever been fortunate enough to witness a conversation between Mr. Cornick and Mr. Penza, you would have been either highly entertained or extremely confused at the knowledge being tossed back and forth. I myself find the conversations very amusing. After spending the whole year with Mr. Cornick in AP Chemistry, he unlocked my inner nerd. I realized that when I was getting a drink from the bubbler, and I did not look at the water as just water, but instead as tiny oxygen and hydrogen molecules. And Mr. Buterini, as my economics teacher, he was able to teach me all about the economy, which I knew nothing about. But more importantly, as principal, he was there for me and many other classmates of mine if we ever needed anything. I'm not sure if I would have been able to make it through this year without Mr. B's guidance and support. I struggled to come up with what I wanted to talk about tonight. Then I thought back to last year's graduation and Mr. Buterini's commencement address. Mr. B talked about writing a letter to your parents. Well, here's mine, and I encourage all my classmates to do the same while they have the chance. Dear Mom and Dad, I would first like to apologize for your monthly food bills going through the roof. Our freezers were always kept full with frozen pizzas, and our family single-handedly kept the frozen pizza industry afloat. Looking back on it now, we probably should have bought stock in the Tombstone Pizza Company. Mom, your kindness and compassion towards others is something I have been able to witness firsthand at home, and many others have been able to witness watching you work with special needs children at the CP Center. Your work as a physical therapist has inspired me to pursue a career in the field of medicine. I hope to be as kind and caring towards my patients in the future as the kids you work with today. I need to thank you and Dad as well for taking me, Danielle, and Michael all across the United States, making memories no one can take away from us. You have instilled in me the importance of family, and for that I'm eternally grateful. I am fortunate to be close to all of my cousins, aunts, uncles, and grandparents, and that is all thanks to you two. Even more importantly, you have raised me in the Catholic faith. Our family has leaned on the power of God, and we put our trust in Him, which has helped us through good times and bad. I know that God will be an important part of my future, and that I will be able to lean on Him for help with whatever I need. And Dad, our bond we have is special. I remember coming home at nights and going downstairs with you to bond by watching TV. But most of the time, we would end up falling asleep and bonding by taking a nap. You taught me how to throw a football and baseball, play golf, hunt, drive, play basketball, and so much more. I know you probably think I'm a little girly because I watch Survivor or wear the occasional pink. But I hope to someday become the man you are. You are a great husband and mom and a great father to me, Michael, and Danielle. If I turn out like you when I am older, I'm positive I'll have a happy wife and kids. I love you both, your son, Brock. And finally to the class of 2014. There are two pieces of advice that my dad has recently told me that I would like to share with you. The first one is to stay faithful. Stay faithful to God, stay faithful to your friends and family, and stay faithful to yourself. The second piece of advice that my dad told me is don't give up on your dreams. There will be some rough times and things may not always be easy, but that doesn't mean giving up your dreams and what you want the most. Classmates, it's been a great 4 years. Thanks for all the memories. Congrats to all of us. Thank you.